One book that I like to talk about is the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park. This one is quite an old book. I think they documented how they built the current West Ham United Stadium. You can look here. Such a beautiful place where they construct stadium without destroying the ecosystem. They're trying to embody that, try to preserve as well. Look here. This is the main stadium and they have bridge around. This is how the stadium in the UK, where if you look at the Emirates have this kind of structure. If you look at how the new Wembley have this kind of bridge as well. So expect that same from the newer stadium that they're playing for. They're playing for Selangor FC's Shah Alam Stadium. So this is when they opened the stadium in 2012 Summer Olympic. I think it was a quite good book that I borrowed this book quite some times. This where the maps. I mean, this is not where football is centered. I guess because this is an athletic stadium, how they preserve the walkway. More or less, this is how they try to preserve nature as well. Even though there are millions, if you look now, it's 12 years, maybe millions of people have come through that place. And also start with the park here. Try to make that. This one is Hyde Park, the famous Hyde Park, where lots of occasion, even concerts and even events. The famous one. Even in Malaysia, we look at this. This look a bit like typing Central Park or area where the house is. I think it's quite interesting. It is how they built this. This is the maps. So some of the criteria they're trying to achieve in the sustainability criteria, like zero carbon, zero waste, sustainable transport, sustainable materials, local and sustainable foods, sustainable water, land use and wildlife, culture and community, equity, local economy, and health and happiness. This is kind of criteria to try to brainstorm during the project. I think not all are achieved, but it's quite interesting that for purpose of building a stadium, they have this. I tell you what, I'm trying to find information for our stadium in Malaysia. Cannot find a book the same as this one. So this is kind of interesting for me to read about how stadium are mapped and built. Have the master planning, the ecological and superstructure just in prior CEO planning, design and development, econ. Also have to talk about how they try to sustain the area. You know, it's quite a big place where actually after the summer games finish, they dismantle some of the temporary stadium, like indoor basketball stadium. Look, and this is how they try to plan on this park. This is the Elizabeth Park, or the stadium for the Olympic. So first they dismantle this 52 pylons. Like they want to clear the place and they try to create an alternative where the cables of the electricity will go through below the land. So destroy some of the buildings not required. That's how the structure of the stadium you look at. It looked like a bowl first, all the structure. the arena is quite huge, to be honest. After the games, the summer game over, there was some application for the stadium. If not mistaken, Chelsea and West Ham, if not mistaken, but West Ham got the nod for this stadium. Then they sold the ground, Upton Park. Some of the fans regrets the club's decision today, because if it is an athletic stadium, it's not really a football ground. When they try to brand it, change everything, they still cannot get the atmosphere going. Excuse the van. This is how it's placed. I just want to go through this. I'm not going to explain it too much. Maybe if you're interested, maybe you can find it online. You buy it somewhere. Maybe some place already sold or sell it on cheap because it's already 12 years. There's some games. I wish that more and more local stadium in Malaysia would take this approach. After they finish building a stadium, they will document it like this, so that new generation or a building head like me, someone like football, also like stadium and building and so forth, I got the chance to read and go through all this. So this is some part of the building that they built. This one is the Hopkins Architects building. This one, the copper box. This one is arena for handball. This one is the International Broadcast Center, Press Center complex. So look at how they build this area. Have the main stadium have a lot of old buildings. Some of it are temporarily built. So after the game's over, they just dismantle the building. This one of it. This is, if you look at here, it have like a lot of scaffolding. So the structure of it is not scaffolding. It's their buildings. It is built on temporary structure. This one is for the basketball arena. The 2012, the US. The late Kobe Bryant played there. And this one is the finished one. Over here, the finished design of the temporary building. So you cannot build a modular kind of design where you can dismantle after the game is finished. Some games finished. This one is the temporary water polo arena. So this one is for water polo. They built it for temporary purpose. After the game's over, they dismantled it and tried to make it as friendly as possible for the locals. That's why they call it Elizabeth Park. After the game is over, the locals can enjoy this place as their leisure place rather than just the Olympic Memorial place. So you look at many stadiums, the Munich one, the Berlin, the Tokyo, the Koreans, or whatever nation that organize the Olympic, they will call it as Olympic Stadium. And some of the structure is not temporary. It's built for that tournament and stay there as a landmark for their achievement organizing the games. But the Elizabeth Park for me is very interesting because after the game is over, some of the buildings they dismantled it. Some of the building they reduced the size of it, the capacity of it, and make it as the community use park or public areas like the swimming pool. They reduce the capacity. Used to be for Olympic, but then they reduced that for public use. That's very interesting. This is the park where they use. I think it's a recycled timber. How do I measure? You look at this. This is how the park looks like. It's interesting. This is how it looks like around the stadium. You have like a park with plants all over the stadium and new stadium. Now it's changed, but at the time this is quite sustainable thing. Maybe sustainable was a good thing. Maybe it is a new thing in early 2010s. This is where they construct the park. It's a bit like how in the Datuk Seri Najib era, where they try to renovate some of the park in the KL areas. We have River of Life, we have the Diwangsa Park, and then even the Botanical KL Garden. Trying to improve that. I think that's how you try to help community throughout the city. I mean, in Malaysia, KL is the real city, the big city where we have close to 1 million plus people, and you look at it, it's looked like Titi Wangsa after the renovation in the River of Life project during the Sunajib years. I know that Datuk Seri Najib is a big fan of how UK plan things. He wanted to make Malaysia on par on some with that development, but he got the keys right. I'm not going to talk politics, I'm not even supporting him with his case, but during his years, quite some project was interesting. So I hope that if, let's say, there are some people from Selangor newest project, the new Shah Alam Stadium, if you're watching this, anyone from MRCB or even the MBI, maybe you can consider to make this kind of documentation for the future references. We don't know. We know that Shah Alam Stadium was built 30 years ago, then they want to demolish it. Until today, we don't know how the structure was built. If you look at their field, beneath it they have like a bowl structure. I learned that from Haji Nomas. He said that the design was quite old-fashioned and not really good for current use. But we don't have any condition to see how it really looks like. Can't be talking much about this, but this is how a good thing. After the stadium's over, most of the temporary place are dismantled, and then they lease their stadium, the main stadium, to West Ham United, and then they rebrand it. They make it a football ground. They put all their branding all around, seeing their colours, claret and blue. But the fans didn't like it much. So trying to do English video on this because YouTube are paying less in Malaysia. But because I don't know if many locals like this kind of content, which talk about books, I wanted to make videos about this, but I've never been there, so I'm not gonna tip someone else's video. Maybe if you support my channel well, one day I can go stadium hopping around the UK. But currently, whatever YouTube paying are very less likely to have that chance to go to Malaysia. I cannot go to stadium hopping that much. So that's it. A brief about project in London Elizabeth Park, or the current West Ham United Stadium that they used in the 2012 Summer Olympic Games. So write what you think about this book. Maybe if you want to look at it, I borrowed this from KL Library. You can find it there if you're interested in this. You can find online someone selling second hand, or maybe whatever place, maybe Big Red Wolf is there selling it, I don't know. But I think it is quite a good read for me. In the past 1 or 2 years, I've been borrowing this book many times, especially how they implement the sustainable building. I think it's a mega project for them when they bid for this Summer Olympic. David Beckham was the face of it. He was the main guy trying to get this project, this bid project, and kudos to him. We'll see one of the interesting Summer Olympic where after the game's over, they somehow renovate the park and make it less Olympic park for the public. So see you guys in the next one. Peace, ciao.